brief note on the surplus labor theory of value lies. It assumes that volunteers are slaves, because if I work for someone who say they're disabled and I volunteer at $0.00 an hour to clean their house, well, they're benefiting from my labor. They're profiting. This is ridiculous. Libertarians, of course, recognize this as legitimate because the actors involved are engaged in a voluntary exchange. But the surplus labor theory of value goes around and says, I think this person is benefiting more than that other person, therefore exploitation's existing. So if there's two people and they're married and the man works 8 hours a day and the woman does not work, she stays home and watches the kids, well, she's getting a house and she's getting food and she's getting clothing. So she is exploiting his labor. Of course, libertarians just laugh at that nonsense. It's just another voluntary exchange. But this is where the surplus labor theory of bullshit gets you. It also assumes that entrepreneurs are not workers. So deciding what to make and what to sell to consumers, they don't consider that work, even though it takes hundreds of hours in which you're not getting paid. You have to market the idea. You have to develop a hiring process. You have to choose where to produce your product, how to produce it. You have to constantly innovate and keep up with competition. You have to reinvest a portion of your money. There's training that's involved in, telling other people how to, operate plants and everything. There's tons of work, and often years before you become profitable. Also, the, quote, workers or employees owning the factory doesn't automatically mean you get higher wages. Higher wages are the result of higher worker productivity and competition. So if you are writing with a pen and paper, you might be able to write maybe 10 pages an hour or so if you really focus on your handwriting. But if you have a typewriter or a computer or a artificial intelligence device which you can speak into and types it out for you, well, then you're much more productive. The more productive you are, the more the business is able to sell to more customers and make more money, which increases the likelihood that you'll get a higher wage because you're more valuable to them. And of course, when there's competitors, you can always leave and go somewhere, so they want to incentivize you to stay with them. Also, this theory assumes that welfare recipients are all labor exploiters, along with all retired people living off pensions. So whereas the libertarian would say, of course, live off a pension, so long as there's a voluntary contract that you chose to invest in, you can take out money as well. There's nothing wrong with this. But under the labor theory of value, you are not a worker. You just sit back and you just collect money. Also, it doesn't acknowledge the fact that, yes, business owners are seeking profit. They're always looking to get more resources. Other people trying to get more resources are consumers. Everyone's trying to get more. So they just try to erroneously vilify one group to create an enemy so they could justify a bigger power grab. Employees are also seeking profit. There's nothing wrong with any of this. This is a harmonious interaction because all people are involved voluntarily. Ownership of your workplace is not necessarily a good thing because you would be undiversified. So if I work at Lehman Brothers and I own Lehman Brothers, I'm totally screwed. So if I work at Lehman Brothers, maybe I don't want to invest and be a part owner of Lehman Brothers. I might want something like Walmart or Amazon or Apple or maybe General Electric. So it's not even good investment advice for you to own necessarily where you work. But hey, if you want to, there's nothing wrong with it. This theory, of course, rejects the worker's right to voluntarily contract. So I could do my own thing. However, I want access to this company's reputation because then I could be more productive there. And I don't have to come up with my own idea of what to sell. So maybe I want to voluntarily contract. Labor theory of value says, nope, not allowed. That is slavery. We own your body. You don't have the right to choose. We don't like what you voluntarily choose to do with other voluntary actors. That is claiming ownership over another person's body. Of course, do unprofitable businesses exploit? So if the concept is, you're making money off my labor, what if I'm not making money? Then the employee is profiting off me and my idea and my business and my reputation. Now the employee is the exploiter. It's, of course, ridiculous nonsense. as far as, the profit motive's evil because businesses are seeking profit. Well, if all ownership was given to the, quote, workers or whoever the employees are that show up, 5 days a week, if they all of a sudden own things, well, they're probably just as greedy as anyone else, so they would still vote in the same things that the socialist criticizes capitalism for. And, of course, employee ownership is fully consistent with capitalism. There's a place in Arizona called Winco, another place called Cruise America, and that is referred to as an employee-owned company. It's voluntary exchange, so there's nothing anti-capitalistic about it. The capitalism part comes in when you allow people to opt out of any system of that. So the labor theory of value is verifiably economically false and morally false.